Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is the founder and chief purpose officer at Purpose U, co-founder Blueprint Business Architectures. Life gets better with purpose, none other than Mr. Ian Chamandy. Welcome on Abstract Essay, Mr. Ian, and can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Sure. My name is Ian Chamandy, and I am the developer of a methodology, a simple three-part methodology, and which involves defining what makes you uniquely remarkable, and then having that guide everything you do and everything you say. And I have two different companies that use that methodology. One is Blueprint, and we use that on business. And the other is Purpose U, and we use that with individuals so that you can define your purpose, define what makes you uniquely remarkable, that's your purpose, in 7 words or less, and then have it guide everything you do and say. So as you can see on the screen, that's what happens if you take our course at Purpose U.
Mr. Ian Chamandy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about how to find your purpose. So tell us, let's try by demystifying the term. How do we distinguish between a purpose, a passion, a career? Can they overlap and must they?
Okay, so that is a brilliant question because there is lots of talk about purpose out there, and that, whether that's purpose for business or purpose for individuals, there's lots of people who are evangelizing that it's really important that you find your purpose and follow your purpose. And none of them explain to you what purpose is. And when they do, it's just such a convoluted, it's, your values and your behaviors and your blah, blah, blah. It's like, what the heck is that? So I started 20 years ago with a partner, and we developed the process that I told you about at the beginning, the 3-part process. Define what makes you uniquely remarkable and have it guide everything you do and say. And until COVID, we did that just with businesses. Just before COVID, I ran into a quote from Pablo Picasso, the artist. Yeah. And he said, the meaning of life is to find your gift, and your purpose is to share it with the world, right? So your purpose is to find your gift and share it with the world, is what he's saying. And I realized that for 17 years, I had been helping companies define what makes them uniquely remarkable at their essence. That's their gift. So in Picasso's expression, purpose is to discover the one thing at your essence that makes you uniquely remarkable, your gift, and share it with the world. So that's what your purpose is. Your purpose is not something out there that you commit yourself to. Your purpose is inside. You have to look inside you for your purpose. And as Picasso said, if your purpose is to find your gift, then he's saying your purpose is to figure out who the best possible you is and share that with the world. So that's what purpose is. It's so simple. It's just the one thing at your essence that makes you uniquely remarkable. And that applies to businesses, and it applies to individuals as well.
Mr. Ian, many people feel pressured to find one grand life-defining purpose. Is it possible that we have a multiple purpose that we evolve throughout different chapters of our lives?
No. You have one thing at your essence that makes you uniquely remarkable. I'm 66 now. And when I think back to when I was 18 or 22 or 25, am I fundamentally different? Am I demonstrably different, a different person than I was back then? No. No, I'm very similar to that person. And it's not because I haven't grown through the years. I can't tell you how much money I have invested in personal growth. It's just because as you get older, you accumulate experience, you accumulate intelligence, and you build on who you are. You don't change who you are. I underwent a fundamental change in my life when I was 42. And I view that as one of the most profound moments in my life. But I'm still the same person. I just built on top of who I was. And that's why your purpose never changes. And you asked the question also, is it a passion of yours? Is it a career of yours? No. These are all expressions of your purpose. I heard a great metaphor in a book that I read in university. It was called Gödel, Escher, and Bach. And Gödel was a mathematician who came up with a theorem that was fairly significant in the world in general, not just in the world of math. Escher is the artist, who paints all that, the optical illusion art. And Bach is the composer, the musician from, a few centuries ago. Mm-hmm. And he described those as three shadows cast from the same stone. And what he meant was that although they are all different, they have something in common at their root. And for you as a person, the stone in your life is your purpose. And everything that you do is a shadow that's cast from that stone. So take somebody like Bruce Springsteen, who we all know as an incredible musician. Is his purpose to be a musician? No. Being a musician is an expression of his purpose. It's a shadow cast from his purpose stone. But he's a much more well-rounded person than that. We're both Canadians, Daniel. Joni Mitchell made her name, as a musician. But she's an artist as well. And she's a great artist. And she's a lot of other things. So being an artist, being a musician, being a songwriter, being a guitar player, those are all just shadows that are cast from her stone, which is her purpose. I don't know what it is, but that's how it works. And so you are already, everybody listening to this is already operating according to your purpose. It's there inside you. But the challenge is you don't know what it is. Excuse me, sorry. So you can't live your purpose intentionally unless you can actually identify it. Once you know it, and especially as we do in Purpose U, if you can express it in 7 words or less, it's a really simple expression for you and others to understand, to remember, and to repeat. And I'll just finish this answer. I'll just tell you that my purpose is transforming confusion into clarity. And I love that purpose. That makes me feel proud that I can do that. And everything in my life, pretty well, is an expression of that, including this course. I help you transform confusion into clarity about your purpose and therefore about your life going forward.
Mr. Ian, what are the common international or internal roadblocks like fear, imposter syndrome, or comparison that typically stop people from even starting this search? And how can they move past them?
So it's not any of those things. There are lots of people who want to know their purpose, who read about purpose, who watch who read blogs about purpose, who watch podcasts about purpose, who read articles about it, because they're searching for it. And the two reasons, these are the two roadblocks. One is that they don't know what it is, so they don't know what they're chasing. They don't know what they're looking for. So for instance, Daniel, if I said to you, Daniel, go out and find that thing. Your first question is, what thing and where do I look? And my response to you is, don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. But when you know, or when you find it, you'll know. It's like, okay, now what are you going to do? That's just a fool's errand. And that's what it's like searching for purpose. The two things that are missing, that are stopping people from finding their purpose is, one, just knowing what it is. And two, having a process that they can follow to discover what it is. Because even as I sit here and I tell you your purpose is that one thing at your essence that makes you uniquely remarkable, your reaction is like, okay, assuming that I buy that definition, now what? Right? So the definition helps a bit. You know what you're searching for, but you don't know how to get there. And that's why we created this course, because it's a step-by-step process. In this course, it takes you about 6 hours to finish. It's not, exceptionally onerous or anything like that. But there are 27 videos between 2 and 5 minutes long, so they're short and easy to digest. And in those videos, that's me walking you through step by step the process of discovering your purpose. And so it's a 16-step process. There's 27 videos. There's nothing that we leave to chance. And it's an AI-powered process with an AI agent that we call Wordsmith that is an expert in purpose.
Very well said, Mr. Ian. Truly, truly empowering answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
My audience or our audience love it.
Yeah,
So what
no,
are
I appreciate their
the what are the common internal roadblocks that most often our listeners or viewers cannot see?
Okay, so this is a great question, because even if you know what purpose is, and even if you know there's a way to find it, why? Why do you want to search for your purpose? And there's two reasons. One is, when you can articulate that one thing that makes you uniquely remarkable, it elevates your confidence. You can now articulate your superpower, and nobody can ever take that superpower away from you. You always had it, but now that you know what it is, it like transforming confusion into clarity. Knowing that I have that skill and that I can help people do that makes me feel really proud and competent. The second thing is, and this is, I would say, even more important. I mean, that is important, elevating your confidence. But the secret about purpose is that it is a decision-making tool. When you are, let's say you're choosing to change your career, and you say, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for a different job. How do you know what job to look for and when you found the right job? And those are two pretty profound questions, because if you answer them incorrectly, you are accepting a job that is going to make you unhappy. So if I'm looking for a job and I've got a whole bunch of opportunities in front of me, like let's say headhunters are coming and saying, hey, this. The question that most people would ask, excuse me, is which of these options is best for me? The challenge with that question is there are no parameters built into the question that help you answer it. It's just, there's a whole field of options available to me. How do I decide which one is the best? instead of asking the question, which of these options is best for me, if instead you ask the question, which of these options is most aligned with my purpose, you now have parameters on that question. And you can immediately rule out probably 3/4 to 80% of those job opportunities because it is transparently obvious that they don't fit your purpose. And now you're left with a much smaller pool. And in that much smaller pool of job options, all of which are aligned with your purpose, you can then say, okay, let's figure out which one is most aligned. But because the short list is all things that are aligned with my purpose, I know all of these options are good candidates. So it helps you narrow it down. Maybe I could give you an example of that. Would that be okay? Daniel, if I gave you an example of that, would that be okay?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Ian. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So I had a business colleague. We were out for drinks after work one day, and she was the CEO of an organization. And she said, the company's running itself, and I'm kind of bored. And I said, well, it sounds like it's time for your next gig. And she said, yeah, but that scares the hell out of me. Just the thought of going out and looking for a job. And I said, why? Now, this woman had her MBA by the time she was 20. This was her third CEO gig. So this is a very smart, competent person. And why she would be afraid going out and looking for a new CEO job seems kind of bizarre. But here's the thing, she's human. And she's looking out in her future and she's saying, yes, I'd like to go out and look for my next career. But she's got that, just asking that question, what's my next career, raises all sorts of other questions. Is there a job out there for me? Am I actually competent? Are my skills still relevant in today's business world? Will anybody know me? Will anybody care about me? Will anybody find what I'm doing valuable? And when you've got all these questions that don't have answers yet, that creates uncertainty in you and it creates anxiety and fear. And that's where she was. So I said, well, let's figure out what your purpose is and let's see where that takes us. So we did. She talked. And basically what she said was, I need a company that's a disaster because I need that to engage my brain, right? I need crisis to engage my brain. And when she joined this company 5 years ago, it was on the verge of bankruptcy. She turned it around and now it's running itself. So I said to her, here's the image that is conjured up in my mind, right? Is that there's like this platoon of soldiers that have just been through a horrible battle. And they're now going, they're going back to wherever, and they encounter a minefield, and they're on the edge of the minefield. And they're saying to themselves, oh my God, we've just been through this horrible battle, and we've managed to keep ourselves alive, and now we're at the edge of a minefield that wants to kill all of us. And you come to them as a new leader, and you look at them and you say, don't worry, I've spent my life taking people safely across minefields. I'm an expert in taking people across minefields safely. Just follow me, do as I say, and I will get you to the other side in one piece. And you can imagine all these soldiers just saying, oh my God, the right person, yeah, just take us to, we'll do whatever. They're inspired by the fact that her special skill is leading safely through the minefield. And that became her purpose statement, leading safely through the minefield. Okay, let's jump ahead now. She's looking for a new CEO gig. And a headhunter comes to her and says, I have this great opportunity for you. It's a company that's on a steady growth, steady, fast growth, and it needs a leader who can keep it on that growth path and have it fulfill its full potential. Now, 99 out of 100 CEO candidates would look at that and say, ooh, that's for me. Her response, keep in mind, her purpose is leading safely through the minefield. There's no minefield in this opportunity. So she says, nah, what else have you got? And she says, I need something that's a tire fire. And says, I have this steaming pile of garbage over here, but I'm embarrassed to show it to you. And she says, no, that's what I want. That's what I want. Show that to me. So she was able to take a field of opportunities of, what looked like great opportunities for a CEO gig and immediately rule out a whole bunch because they were successful companies. And all she wanted to do was look at the tire fires to see which one inspired her most as a turnaround possibility. So in conclusion, this is the value of purpose. It helps you make decisions that are aligned with who you are. And because they're aligned with who you are, those decisions seem right, they seem logically correct to you, and they feel right. And that's the value of purpose, making better decisions in your life because these decisions are aligned with who you are.
Yes, people make a better decision indeed. And Mr. Ian, as a co founder and chief purpose officer, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, I'm 66, so the long term is getting closer and closer. And really, here's the thing. There's about 8 billion people in the world. And I
Yes.
believe that at least half of them are walking around thinking in their minds, there's nothing special about me. Therefore, I don't deserve anything special, and I can't achieve anything special. And to all of them, I say, because there is no person in the world who is exactly like you, even if you are an identical twin, your identical twin is not exactly like you. And as long as there is nobody exactly like you, you have something that makes you uniquely remarkable. And if you could just figure out what that is, then you would realize that you are a special person and that you do deserve special things and that you can achieve special things. And I think this would be a better world if everybody felt that way. And that's what I'm trying to do with my course. That's what I'm trying to do, in the time that I have left, is just get as many people as possible to realize this and then express discover their purpose.
Truly, truly empowering goals. Mr. Ian, I'm looking forward for more success and good luck to all your goals.
Thank you, Daniel.
And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, well, I'll recommend the one that I talked about at the beginning, right? This book called Gödel, Escher, and Bach. Now, I'll warn you, it's a heavy book. And I actually took a philosophy course in university that was about the book. Not the book was a textbook for the course was the book. And the reason I took the course is because I knew I wouldn't read it unless I was required to do it for the course. But if you love complex conceptual issues, then this book, Gödel, Escher, and Bach, by Douglas Hofstadter. I don't know if he's still alive, but he was a prof at Northwestern University. And like I said, he said Gödel, Escher, and Bach are three people, very different people, but they are three shadows cast from the same stone. And the book attempts to define what the stone is, because the stone is sort of what humanity is. That's what the question he's trying to answer. So that's the book I would recommend.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Ian. And but before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr.
And you're
Ian,
you're a
yeah,
busy man.
I'm busy, busy indeed, Mr. Ian. And looking back on your own journey, what is has living with a stronger sense of purpose allowed you to become that you might not have otherwise?
Well, I think just developing the two products out of it that I've developed because, I explained to you why I thought discovering your purpose as an individual is like foundational to living. But discovering what makes a company uniquely remarkable and having that guide how it how the company operates, how it lives, is also foundational. And I think that those are two things that should be ubiquitous. Everybody should know their purpose. Every company should know its purpose and be guided by its purpose. So creating those things and then evangelizing those things are two things that I couldn't do unless, I knew my purpose, and my purpose was transforming confusion into clarity. Because that's what both of those services do for business and for people.
Mr. Ian Chamandy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Well, it's right there. If Purpose U, as in Purpose Unity, Purpose University, if you go to purposeu.ai, then you will see information about the course so that you consider whether or not you'd like to.
Yes, people, Mr. Ian Chamandy, co-founder and chief purpose officer at Purpose U. Let's support them because if you support him, for sure, more and more purpose or empowering purpose to come. So, Mr. Ian, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Welcome, people. See you soon.